and gentlemen, welcome to Comic Book Curious. Please introduce yourself and tell us your occupation.
Hi, my name is Kory Bing. I am the creator of a webcomic called Skin Deep, and I also do science illustration and lots of risograph zines and make enamel pins and just a bunch of stuff.
Oh, cool. A total creative.
Yeah, anything I can, really.
I love it. Tell us a little bit about Skin Deep.
The webcomic is about mythical creatures living hidden from the rest of humanity. I started it. It's kind of about this social issues. Everyone's kind of a monster person kind of thing. It's just, it's kind of a slice of life with monsters comic. I started it. It's actually going to turn 15 years old this year. So I've been doing it for quite a while.
That's impressive. Not a lot of people could say that.
Yeah, it's I can't believe it's been that long. It's really, I started in 2006, and I've been doing it full time since 2010. So
wow. How did it come about? What was the origin story?
It's one of those things that I had been working on for a long time. I had it, some of the characters go back to when I was in high school and early college. And it was one of those things that I had all these characters and I realized that I wasn't really doing anything with them. I wanted to try to figure out something to do with them. And throughout, just for over about five or 6 years, I kind of whittled together a story. And I've always been really interested in slice of life comics, or just like slice of life, like urban fantasy kind of stuff, where people are it's everyday people, but also they're not human. I always thought that was really fun to draw. And so I kind of was born out of that. I've also been really interested in folklore and mythology, and especially lesser known folklore and mythology. So I wanted to try to incorporate that a lot. One of my favorite TV shows when I was a kid was Disney's Gargoyles. And the thing I like the most about that is that it was really fun to watch, but also it kind of taught you about folklore and mythical creatures and stuff while you're watching it. And so I like the idea of including stuff like little fun facts that people could learn on accident while they're reading the comic. So
I love it. I love it. Are there other shows or comics that do that well that you love?
I actually didn't really read a lot of comics when I was a kid. My main thing that got me into comics was Jeff Smith's Bone, which I started reading because it was in Disney Adventures magazine, which I was an avid subscriber to as a child. And I grew up in a really small town, so I never even saw a comic book store. And when I started reading Bone, I was like, I need to go into a comic book store. And so I would just kind of go. I didn't know how it worked. And the first thing I got was the first trade paperback of the first edition of Bone, which I found out later was a first edition hardcover that I went to a comic book store and bought it. And so I thought it came, every time I would go to a comic book store, I would see if there was a new Bone book. I didn't even know that they came in floppies or anything like that. I didn't really know what was going on. And so it was a fun experience to be like, what is all this? I don't know. Where's Bone?
That is super cool. Okay, so where do you home from?
I grew up in the Ozarks of Missouri, actually. I grew up in a small town of 600 people in mid-Missouri, and then I went to college in Springfield, Missouri. And about 10 years ago, I'm currently in Portland, Oregon. I moved here about 10 years ago.
It's crazy the amount of talent in Portland.
Yeah, it's nice. I moved here because my sister is a graphic design. She's the head of the graphic design department at Portland State University. So she was already here. And I thought it would be nice to move where she was. And the weather is, I didn't think that you could pick a place that had nice weather all the time, because I'm used to Missouri, which is really hot summers and really cold winters and ice storms and tornadoes and floods. And so it was nice to be like, oh, it's not humid here. We have to worry about volcanoes and earthquakes, but I'd rather do that than tornadoes every year, sort of thing. So,
I am so grateful that Sean has introduced me to you and other super cool, talented people from Portland. I can't wait to come out and check out Portland.
Yeah, it's great. The weather, especially right now, has been so nice. It's hard to stay indoors, even though you have to.
So tell us about your favorite fictional character and why.
This was a hard question to think about. I had to go with my gut instinct, which is to say Gomez Adams from the Addams Family is my favorite. I love his passion for life, and he's unashamed for all of the things that he's super into, and he's very enthusiastic about everything, and is incapable of being embarrassed about anything that he likes. So, and I think that's kind of the theme that I stumbled upon when I was answering some of these questions, was just being really enthusiastic and enjoying life and being not afraid to enjoy the things that you enjoy.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Yeah. I love it. He's such a romantic too, right?
Yeah, he's such a romantic, and he loves his trains, and he loves his fencing, and he loves his suits. It's just everything. He just loves things very hard, and yeah. I appreciate that.
It's such a great answer. I mean, great answer. Okay.
Thank you.
What's your favorite thing to do when not working?
I actually just started last year during the pandemic. I been trying to find different hobbies to do, and I stumbled across cross stitching, and I've been really enjoying cross stitching lately. I was doing some while I was waiting for the meeting to start. I'm working on, it's a big Disney poster for the Primeval World exhibit in Disneyland that I'm working on right now.
Oh my goodness.
I've just been picking away at it. It's really fun. And it's just, there is a whole community online that I didn't know about with like cross stitching and embroidery that I had no idea that I kind of stumbled into. That's been really fun to be part of.
That is super cool. And you're a Disney fan?
Oh yes, very much so.
Well, who's your favorite Disney character or favorite movie?
My favorite Disney character is Jose Carioca from the Three Caballeros. He's one of my favorites. He's the Brazilian parrot from like the 1940s. That was a big deal. It's just, he's one of, like, usually with like Disney characters, especially going to Disneyland and stuff, if you focus on just collecting stuff from one character, it's a lot easier not to just hoard stuff and find yourself with a bunch of Disney memorabilia that you don't really want. So if you choose one character to get stuff of, and my one character is Jose Carioca, I just think he's really fun.
You are awesome. I'm learning so much in this interview.
Thank you.
What is your passion?
My passion is to learn about things like fun facts and weird, strange but true sort of things. It's kind of obnoxious whenever I go places. I like to point out just fun things I've learned about various things, like either like weird history or like natural sciences and paleontology. And evolution is really fun. I just really like to learn things. And so I get really excited when I learn new things.
I agree. I mean, we probably have different things, different fun facts, but I'm a huge sucker for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I get excited whenever I see someone, even if it's something that I am not into. If I'm hearing someone talk about something that they're really interested in, it's fun to listen to that, like to learn what they're really into. It's fun to learn, and it's fun to be excited about things. And
so you mentioned science and paleontology.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about some of that stuff that you like digging into.
I've always been really into dinosaurs. I was a dinosaur kid, and my uncle is an amateur paleontologist, so he would like give me fossils and things as a kid. And I've kind of just, for a while in high school and stuff, I got out of it and got more into mythology and folklore. But just a couple of years ago, I got way deep into dinosaurs again. And there's a lot of really cool things coming out of paleontology right now. And one of my favorite things is that the stuff is millions and millions of years old, yet we're still learning about it every year. Like we're learning new things all the time and finding out that like old things we thought we knew were incorrect. And it's just really fun to discover new things and find out new dinosaurs and it's really, and like figuring out like how things have evolved from other things and just the natural history of the planet is just really interesting to me.
Do you put that stuff into your comics at all?
I do. Not so much the paleontology stuff, but I do use a lot of like evolution and different animals, and I like different aspects of different animal things. Like I really like Like one of the weird things that I'm really into is dentition of different animals, because like the way the teeth on different animals work is really interesting, and how it's like evolved from reptiles to mammal teeth to like amphibian teeth. It's just for one reason, so whatever reason, are really interesting. So I like to draw my characters with different kinds of teeth, and like it's just, yeah, it's like the little things like that kind of influence my comic. More things that do with my comic is my other interest, which is folklore. I really like to go on like deep dives of either I'll start at Wikipedia and kind of go into a hole and try to find different weird folklore that not a lot of people have heard of. And I really like local cryptid mythology is really fun. Like the Fresno night crawlers, which are just like walking pants, or yeah. If you look it up, there's this video, a security video from Fresno, California, of these weird. It looks like puppets, but I can't figure out exactly how it's done, but it's really creepy and unsettling. But they're just basically pants walking around, like white pants, and it's really creepy. I love it. I love that stuff. And like I found out in Portland, there's a sea monster that lives in the Columbia River called Colossal Claude, that hasn't been seen since the 70s, but is this big sea monster that lives in the river. And I just really love like local history like that. It's really fun.
Wow. Oh my gosh, you'd be fun to hang around with. Just walking down the street and do you know that that's very cool.
Yeah, I have a lot of that. It's hard to go to like the zoo with me because I'm like, a fun fact about cougars. And it's like,
but, and I agree so enthusiastically with the way you're kind of educating people in your comics. Yeah. I think that's so cool. And it for me, as someone who is just at the beginning of learning all about comics and I'm working with a professional comic book writer and other people to create my own thing. Mm-hmm. And I would love to learn how to connect people from different cultures and different places, just through throwing crap in there, like you're saying, that doesn't have to seem educational at all, but it just happens to be life or just kind of historical fiction or whatever.
I think one of the things that has kept my readers, I don't have a huge reader base, but I have a very loyal reader base. They've been around for years and years and years. And I think that one of the things that drew a lot of people in is just, I would just like, it wasn't that I'm making a comic for other people. I'm making a comic for me, and hopefully other people will like it. And what's making comics is that it's so time intensive and so much work that if you aren't just 100% into it from the beginning, because it's going to become, even no matter how fun it is to start off with, it's going to become work, and you're going to have days where you don't want to do it. And there's a lot of webcomics, especially, that if you don't have the monetary income from it, then you have to stop doing it. But if you have things like, if I was locked in a room by myself and no one could get out, I would still make it, sort of thing. And I think that really talks to or speaks to other people, that they really enjoy the enthusiasm, and you could tell that the person making it is having a lot of fun. And I think it's really easy. It's like one of those things that it's hard to talk about, but if you're reading a comic, you can tell that it's being made from a place of love rather than a place of, oh, I want to make some money or a cash grab sort of thing. And it's hard to kind of pick out exactly what makes different comics feel like that, but when you're reading it, you can feel that. And so I try to put that in there. And so you can go, so if someone's reading, it's like, this is really fun, this person's having a good time.
Yeah. What is the like your schedule, your work, getting through that time where you were just saying, if you don't love it, do you have a schedule or something that helps you produce when you just aren't inspired to do it?
I update my comic once a week. So I have that hard, every Tuesday I have to have a comic page done, or else I will fall behind and I'll disappoint my readers. And I don't want to do that. And it's one of those things that after you've been doing it for years and years, it's kind of just, it's like, well, what else am I going to, I have to do the comic. And it's really helped me a lot, because I've never been able to really get a buffer going with like comic strips ahead of time, so I can just kind of sit on my laurels to let the comic update. So like I have that kind of fire under my ass to be like, gotta get the comic done. It doesn't matter if you hate it. It doesn't matter if you're not feeling it. Another thing that really helps is thinking of the comic as a whole rather than individual pages. Like even if you like you're gonna have bad pages, you're gonna have bad panels, but as long as you keep on going, like the whole is more important than the individual a lot of times. And so like you can spend a lot of time on each page to make sure everything is perfect and great, but if they're making a page perfect, getting it out on time is always the preferable way to do it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice. Okay, how about this? Something weird that has happened during a book signing or convention.
Okay. I was at a Rose City Comic Con several years ago. I don't remember exactly what year it was. It was over 5 years ago now, I think it was. But I was at my table in Artist Alley, and it was late in the day. I was kind of zoning out. It was like everyone was very tired. I was kind of just spacing out, staring into the middle distance. And I looked down, and I saw a little French bulldog walk by, and I thought, that looks a lot like Carrie Fisher's dog, Gary Fisher. And then like maybe a minute later, it clicked. It was like, that was Gary Fisher. Carrie Fisher just walked by my booth, and I missed it because I was too busy looking at her dog. And I thought that was really cute. Another really fun story that I just thought of, remembered, I do a lot of furry conventions as well, which are really fun to do. But
wait, what are those?
Furry conventions for like furry artists and like anthropomorphic, like people who like dress up as animals or like animal people. It's kind of like a subgenre of conventions that is everything having to do with like monster people and stuff. It's really fun.
Oh, cool.
And I do those a lot. There was one in Chicago I did a couple of years ago that Violent J from the Insane Clown Posse was there because his daughter is a furry. And so he bought her a fursuit, and he made his own fursuit, and he was walking around the convention floor looking at stuff. And I was with my table mate who sells plush. He was buying one of their plush for his daughter, and it's just like Violent J of the Insane Clown Posse is right there at a furry convention. It's really weird and fun.
Oh, that's great! Shout out to Violent J.
Yeah, I miss conventions so much.
Yeah, that's the next question. What's your best Comic-Con experience?
I've been doing conventions for like every year for about 10 years now, maybe more. But I think my favorite convention story really is I wasn't an exhibitor. I was an attendee. I went to San Diego Comic-Con for the first time back in 2015. And at the time, I didn't want to exhibit there because I thought it was too big and like it was really expensive, and I didn't really know. It was scary. It was really intimidating. It was the biggest convention I've ever been to. I've done that show a couple times now since then, but this is the first time I went there.
Cool.
And I decided since I'm not selling anything, I wanted to dress up. I wanted to cosplay because I really like making costumes, and you can't really cosplay while also exhibiting at the same time. It's kind of that doesn't really work that well. So I was like, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to cosplay. And that was the year that Mad Max Fury Road had come out. And so I made a really cool Furiosa costume, and I shaved my head and everything. And yeah, I went all in. And I had a friend who dressed up as Nux, and I had another friend who dressed up as a Morton Joe. And we all just hung out. And it was like we were convention royalty. It was like it took us hours to get from one side of the con hall to the other because people were stopping us to take photos. It was so much fun. And like, I'm usually pretty introverted. So like having a costume on, like I get the attention, but like people are looking at the costume and not me. So like I could be like really excited about attention without feeling super self-conscious about it. And it was just a really fun experience. And we ended up winning a costume contest that year. Yeah, it was really cool. And so that was a really fun memory that it was great.
Okay. What is your superhero power?
I've always loved like shapeshifters have been my favorite superhero characters. So like just like it ties in a lot with my comic too. Like I like inhuman things, monster people, animal traits and stuff. So I always thought that shapeshifting would be a fun superpower to have.
Is there other ones that other than like Mystique or like the villains, or not even the villains, the aliens from Captain Marvel?
Yeah. When I was a kid or in high school, I got really into the comic Exiles, which has Morph was one of the main characters from that, the X-Men Morph. And I thought that he was really fun. I always really liked Morph. But like less comic books, I was really into the Animorphs as well as a kid. So like the idea of like like the horrible body horror transformation scenes are really fun. And so like that was really always really fun to read about.
You are so cool. I love it. Okay. Do you have an everyday superhero that's not your parents that you can think of?
I was thinking about this. I think I answered Dolly Parton in the thing, but I was thinking about it. Just basically, it's the same reason why I picked Gomez. Is just like anyone who is brave enough to be themselves and be unapologetically who they are and know what they want and who they are, especially if like who they are is not something that's super popular with the status quo. And it's really hard just to be yourself. And Dolly Parton has a quote that I really like. I think about it a lot, which is find out who you are and then do it on purpose. And yeah, I really like that. And I'm all about that. And just being able to be enthusiastic about the things that you like and not embarrassed about this. Like if you're into something super harmless and fun, but is dorky or embarrassing, it's like, who cares? It's like, you're not hurting anyone, you're having a good time. So yeah.
Is there any superhero that you know personally, unless you're friends with Dolly, or is that you're like, man, they're just awesome? And we can shout out here, right? It could be a fellow creator, or it could be, your brother who's a doctor, whoever, anybody that you know in your life.
First person that comes to mind, my best friend Svay Monster is the creator from out of Halifax. That they are very into the things that they're super into, and they are. I'm trying to think of how to even explain it. It's just, I have a lot of friends who are either gender nonconforming or trans, that it just, the bravery it takes for them to come out and just be themselves, and seeing how much happier they are after they are able to be themselves and live freely as themselves it's really inspiring, especially knowing how difficult and sometimes dangerous it is to just be yourself and be a person, like just be the person you are. And so it's really inspiring to see people just be themselves.
Yeah. That's and the bravery of and the generosity of trying to explain that to people that don't have that experience, and to be able to do that through storytelling.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, my friend
powerful.
Faye does comics about like the queer experience, and has a lot of like they did an anthology called the Beyond Anthology. That's a bunch of stories from queer and trans creators in a big, huge book that you can read. And it's just it's great. It's really great.
Well, I want to interview them for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I can hook you
up. That's a great lead into this thing. What do you bring to your fans in an innovative way?
I think I've mentioned a couple of times, just enthusiasm and trying to bring up things that they might not have thought of before or experienced before, but if they can experience something through someone else's enthusiasm and find out that whatever this thing is that you might have thought was scary before or confusing, you can see that it's fun, and it's fun to be around, and it's really interesting and great, and everyone's just having a good time being a big dork. And I feel like I have a lot of readers that maybe weren't into dinosaurs when I started yelling about dinosaurs, and now I got a lot of readers who are just as into like natural history and paleontology as I am, just because I've just been yelling about dinosaurs for so long.
I love it. Okay, last question, then we'll go into a speed round.
Okay.
Can you do anything party trick? Can you do a party trick or something quirky?
I can whistle with my hands.
Oh yes.
Yeah, let's see if I can get this.
I love it. I'm getting Hunger Games vibes right now.
That's my stupid human trick that I can do.
That's wonderful. Okay, one-word answers. What, or two-word answers, or whatever. What is your feel-good TV or movie?
The Muppets. Anything Muppets.
That's great. Favorite comfort food?
Comfort food. I really like peanut butter sandwiches on waffles with bananas. I think those are called the Elvis.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Favorite song to sing in the shower?
Geez, I always have at least 3 songs in my head at any given time. So
Okay.
whatever I wake up with at that time.
Fantastic.
It could be anything.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet. I have a huge sweet tooth.
Fly or teleport?
Teleport. I gotta be like Nightcrawler, man.
Yes. Top 3 songs that you're feeling right now.
Top 3 songs that I'm feeling right now. I've been really into like a 70s, 60s folk mood lately. So like anything Simon and Garfunkel, anything Joni Mitchell, anything like Led Zeppelin. Just
I love it. I love it.
Been to that a lot lately.
All right, one or two word answers. Cyclops or Wolverine?
Neither. They're both jerks.
Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
Super strong or super smart?
Super strong. I'm weak.
Beach, mountains, or forest?
Give me a forest. A nice forest.
Favorite non-male superhero?
Non-male superhero. Shoot, I know who my favorite male superhero is.
Ooh.
Nightcrawler is my favorite male superhero. So
yeah.
how about Monica Rambeau from Next Wave?
Ooh, cool. Okay. How about top 3 movies?
Top 3 movies. Got to go with the Addams Family, Jurassic Park, and Pacific Rim.
I mean, come on. You're consistent, right? New York or Chicago pizza?
Chicago. I'm a Midwest girl. Got to go Chicago.
Oh my gosh. Come on, New York. Let's go.
I'm sorry. My favorite pizza is St. Louis style. I can't.
Oh my gosh. Well, what a pleasure, true pleasure meeting you and learning about you.
Thank you so much.
I can't wait to dive more into your work and learn from your fans and talk to your friend. And this has been such a cool journey for me to get to know nerd culture and people that are, like you said, into things.
Yeah.
That for me is the coolest. And once people, just like you were saying, once people can find that thing, life is so much better.
Yeah, and like my favorite thing about comics is a lot of people think it's a genre, but it's an art form. Like you can have any genre can be a comic, and so like a lot of people just think, oh, comic books are superheroes and capes. Like it's so much more than that. There's so many incredible comics out there just waiting to be read, and so many people just making comics right now that are incredible.
Apart from your friend that you were talking to me before, are there 5 people or 5 artists or 5 authors or 5 creators that you would love to shout out just because they've inspired you in some way?
Yeah, I would say I think Spike Trotman of Iron Circus Comics out of Chicago. She publishes a lot. She's the biggest comic publisher in Chicago. She publishes a lot of incredible comics. My friend Blue Delaquanti does a comic called Oh Human Star that is incredible. Evan Dom does a comic called Rice Boy and Batu that are really, really incredible. Let's see. I have so much. One of the things about being in comics and doing conventions and stuff is you make a lot of really cool friends that are also making comics, and just like everything they make is really cool. And you're like, oh, what you're doing is cool. And they're like, oh, what you're doing is cool. So it's just, there's just so many, and I love it. And
I love it. Well, send them our way, because for me, this is such it's a thrilling journey to meet people like yourself. And I'll let you know when we're done with this, and we'll keep on keeping on. And hopefully I can bring together even more cool people in this way. I come from a performance and social impact background. So this podcast and interview series will bring in those people and kind of say, hey, we can all mingle together. And so you would get along with a lot of my friends, science nerddom and all that. So
yes. I love it. I love being science nerdy.
Yeah, so cool. Well, hey, thanks so much for joining us on Comic Book Curious.
Thank you so much.
Have a beautiful day.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.